Today, we're breaking down exactly how to buy your first rental property in 2026, step by step. By the end of this video, you'll know how much money you actually need, what to look for, how to run the numbers, and how to avoid the biggest beginner mistakes that blow up your cash flow. So, if you want financial freedom from rental income instead of just scrolling listings on your phone at 2 a.m., make sure to watch this all the way through and smash the like button for the algorithm. Step 0. Your down payment. Before anything else, you need money. No hack replaces the down payment. Typical lenders want 15 to 20% down payment for an investment property, and that's the norm for conventional loans, especially with tighter lending standards after years of price growth and rate volatility. That means for every $100,000 in purchase price, you're usually putting down $15,000 to $20,000 of your own cash for an investment property. If you are buying a primary residence and house, hacking it, meaning living in one unit and renting the others, you can often still get away with 35% down using owner-occupied loan programs, but you will pay mortgage insurance and need to actually live there. So be realistic. If you have $3,000 saved, you are not buying a $200,000 rental next month. Use this time to aggressively save, cut expenses, boost income, and learn the strategy so that when you do have the money, you are ready to move fast. Step 1. Fix your credit before rates crush you. Unless you're buying in cash, which is almost nobody watching, you need a loan. And in 2026, your credit score matters more than ever with higher and more volatile interest rates. Having a 740+ score will get you the best mortgage rates. Under that, you're seen as a riskier borrower, you get charged more in interest, and that destroys your monthly cash flow. So the goal? 1. Aim for 740. 760+ is even better for the top-tier pricing. 2. Have multiple active lines of credit with no late payments, no collections, and low utilization. 3. If your score is trash, late payments, collections, maxed cards, you fix this before you even think about investing. Pay off what you can, negotiate or settle old collections, dispute incorrect items, and give yourself time for your score to recover. 4. Use a free credit monitoring site to see your approximate score and track progress. Then tell lenders your score instead of letting every lender hard pull you while you're just shopping. Step 2. Get your 2026 income paperwork. Right. Once your credit is on track and you're saving for a down payment, get your income paperwork cleaned up, especially if you're self-employed, a creator, or a freelancer. Lenders still usually want 1. Last 2 years of tax returns, and they'll average your income across those years. 2. 2 to 6 months of bank statements, proof of employment or business income, plus documentation of debts and assets. If year 1 you show $50,000, year 2 you show $100,000, they don't care that you feel like. You make $100,000 now, they'll use the $75,000 average to qualify you. And here's the classic beginner mistake: writing off everything on your taxes to pay nothing in income tax. If you show the IRS that you only made $20,000 because you expensed your entire life, lenders will also treat you like you only made $20,000, and your borrowing power will be tiny. Leading into buying property, a lot of investors intentionally dial back the crazy write-offs, pay a bit more in tax for 1 to 2 years, and in exchange qualify for a much larger loan based on higher reported income. Step 3. Talk to a lender before you fall in love. Do not start touring properties and scrolling listings like crazy before you talk to a lender. Here's what always happens. You see the perfect property, calculate the rent in your head, fall in love, then finally go to a lender and find out it's way out of your price range. Everything you see after that feels terrible by comparison. Instead, your sequence is 1. Clean up your credit and gather your tax returns and bank statements. 2. Talk to at least one lender or broker and get a pre-approval, or at minimum a realistic pre-qualification based on your actual numbers. Tell them your approximate credit score and income, give them your documents, and have them tell you the price range, down payment amount, and estimated monthly payment that makes sense for you. This does 2 things. 1. You waste 0 time looking at properties you can't afford. 2. When you find a deal, you can move quickly, which matters even more in competitive 2026 markets where good cash flowing deals get multiple offers. Instantly, timing is key. The more prepared you are with a lender, the better chance you have of getting an offer accepted. Step 4. Start shopping smart. Now the fun part? Looking at actual properties. Once you know your budget, start looking at everything you possibly can within your price range, then even 10 to 15% above that, just so you get a sense of how better areas or finishes price out. The goal in 2026 isn't to find the one on day one. It's to build pattern recognition. You want to see enough properties, 20, 30, 40, that you intuitively understand. What's considered a good price for your area? Which upgrades are standard versus overbuilt? How location, layout, and condition affect rent and resale? Personally, the target lane for a first rental is still the lower middle of your local price range, not the extreme low end and not luxury. That's where you usually get the biggest pool of future buyers and tenants. Decent affordability, good upside if you improve the property. In 2026, remote and out-of-state investing are more popular than ever, but the risk is the same. If you don't know the area, you rely heavily on other people. Some investors crush it out of state, but if it's your first deal, there's a big advantage to buying somewhere you understand, or building a truly trusted local team before wiring money into a random zip code you've never visited. Step 4.5. What kind of property? Single-family homes, duplexes, triplexes, or fourplexes. For a first investment property, most beginners are still better off with. These 2 to 4 unit properties still typically qualify for conventional residential financing with better terms than commercial loans for 5+ units. They often have lower rates and are easier to finance with smaller down payments compared to big apartment buildings. Condos can look cheap, but HOA fees are often brutally high and constantly rising with insurance costs and maintenance, which can eat your entire cash flow. You usually can't add square footage, and HOA rules can limit what you can do with the property. So for a first deal, a simple house or small multifamily in a solid area usually gives you the best mix of financing, control, and tenant demand. Step 5. Run the cash flow numbers like an investor. Here's where almost everyone messes up. They underestimate expenses and overestimate rent. The reality is that 95 to 98% of properties on the market were bad investments at their list price. And that's still true after years of appreciation. Almost everything looks good emotionally and looks terrible once you do the math. Here's the basic process you can still use today: down payment and loan. Decide how much you're putting down and what loan you're getting. Ideally, a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. Use a mortgage calculator site to estimate your monthly principal and interest payment. Property taxes. A $400,000 purchase in California at roughly 1.2% yearly tax is about $400 per month in property tax. The exact number depends on your state and city, so pull the actual tax rate for your target area and plug that in. Insurance. Many rentals still fall into that $100 to $150 per month range in a lot of markets, but with inflation and disaster risk, some areas are much higher, so get a real quote early. Maintenance and repairs. Budget a monthly buffer for things like landscaping, pest control, handyman work, and random breakdowns. It's about $200 per month. Vacancy. Assume that over time you will have at least some months vacant between tenants, plus the cost of touch-ups are around $150 per month on average. $400,000 with 20% down. Principal and interest are about $1,717 per month, plus roughly $400 in taxes, $100 to $150 in insurance, and another $350 in maintenance and vacancy buffer, giving a total around $2,600 per month in true ownership cost. If that property rents for $3,200 per month, that's about $800 per month in cash flow before income taxes, or around a 12% cash-on-cash return on an $80,000 down payment. On top of that, you're paying down the loan, building about $4,700 in principal paydown in year one, taking the total first-year return to roughly 18% on that $80,000. For a first deal, the rule still stands. Do not buy negative cash flow rentals hoping for appreciation to bail you out. At minimum, your worst-case scenario should be break-even after all realistic expenses, and ideally you want solid positive cash flow on day one. Great deals are rare. In some expensive cities, you might look at 100 to 200 properties and only a handful truly cash flow at realistic rents. So patience and discipline on the numbers are everything. Step 6. Target light fixers with ugly cosmetics. The sweet spot is still properties with boring but solid bones and ugly cosmetics. You want roof, foundation, plumbing, and electrical already in decent shape, outdated kitchens, bathrooms, flooring, paint, and landscaping that you can cosmetically upgrade. The reason is simple. Cosmetic upgrades are relatively cheap and fast compared to structural work, but they can dramatically increase rent and future value. Spending around $30,000 on the right upgrades can boost monthly cash flow by $600 per month, which is a massive return on that renovation budget. To price renovations, 1. Get at least 3 bids from well-reviewed contractors. 2. Ask endless questions. What they'd do, where they'd save, where they'd not cut corners. And budget reality. Renovations almost always cost about 20% more and take about 20% longer than you expect. If you're quoted $20,000 in 1 month, expect something closer to $24,000 in 6 weeks. For rentals, make everything as tenant-proof as possible. Use durable laminate or tile instead of easily scratched high-end hardwood. Choose tough, non-porous countertops over fragile or easily stained premium materials. Avoid carpet if you can. It gets destroyed and replaced constantly. If something can break, eventually a tenant will find a way to break it. So build for durability, not Instagram. Step 7. Make offers like a professional. Once you find a property that works on paper, you start writing offers. Most of your offers will not get accepted if you're disciplined. You're going to offer at a price where the deal actually cash flows given real-world rents and expenses. If the price has to go higher for you to win the bidding war and the numbers no longer make sense, you walk away. You want a competent real estate agent on your side. A good one can save or make you far more than their commission by structuring offers well and negotiating hard, while a bad one can literally lose you deals or cost you money. When it's time to offer, 1. Don't get emotional and overpay just to win. 2. But also don't be so stubborn. You lose a great property over a tiny difference that doesn't actually change the cash flow meaningfully. For the right property in the right area, paying a fair price is better than getting a steal in a bad location with problem tenants and zero upside. Step 8. Inspections and your second round of negotiation. Once your offer is accepted and you're under contract, the clock starts on inspections. Inspect everything you can. 1. Roof, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, foundation. 2. Sewer line, mold, pests, and anything that could be expensive later. Every property has issues, even new construction. So don't panic when the report comes back with pages of problems. Instead, price them. Get bids on what it will cost to fix the real issues, then go back to the seller and ask for either a price reduction or a credit at closing. Sellers will often say, as is no credits up front. Ask anyway. The worst they can say is no, and many times you'll get at least something. Think of inspections as your second negotiation round. Step 9. Closing costs. During escrow, you'll also see a long list of fees that aren't the purchase price. 1. Escrow or attorney fees. 2. Lender and underwriting fees. 3. Title insurance and recording fees. 4. Prepaid taxes and insurance and other small line items. A simple rule of thumb that still works is to budget around 1% of the purchase price for closing costs on many standard residential deals, though it can vary by state and loan type. On a $400,000 property, that might be around $4,000 in additional upfront costs on top of your down payment. Know this number early so you're not surprised the week of closing. Step 10. Renovate with a plan. If your property needs work, start renovations immediately after closing so you minimize downtime with no rent coming in. Visit the property often, ideally every day or at least several times a week, because things will go wrong and the jobs with the loudest, most present owners tend to stay on track. It's common for contractors to juggle multiple sites and move crews where people are shouting the loudest, so you want to be on their radar. Use this first project as a live education in what upgrades actually matter to tenants in your area. Which materials hold up versus get destroyed? How long trade work really takes in your market? This experience pays off massively on every future deal. Step 11. Rent it out for top dollar. With renovations done, it's time to rent the place and start the cash flow. Step 1. Amazing photos. Do not upload dark, blurry phone pics of a toilet and expect top-tier rent. Pay for professional photos or at least shoot with care. Good lighting, wide angles, staged or clean rooms. Step 2. Be hyper-responsive. Renters are in search mode. They're excited in the moment and ready to act. If you reply days later, they've already signed somewhere else. Step 3. List everywhere. Use all the major rental sites in your country, anything equivalent to Zillow, apartments.com, local classifieds, the MLS through an agent, and so on, because you never know where your best tenant is looking. And finally, screen tenants properly. Check income, credit, references, and rental history. One bad tenant can wipe out a year of profit. Step 12. Rinse, repeat, and scale over a decade. Once your first rental is stabilized, it's renovated, rented, and you've lived through a full cycle of issues, hold it for at least 12 to 18 months, learn the systems, and then start planning your next down payment. Scaling doesn't mean buying 10 doors in 10 months with crazy leverage. It can be as simple as buy one solid duplex or single-family rental every other year. Do that for 10 years, and you could own 5 duplexes or 10 single-family rentals, all cash flowing and gradually paying themselves off. After 30 years, having multiple paid-off properties, throwing off rental income is an insane retirement plan compared to just hoping your job or one index fund will save you. It's not overnight, and it takes discipline. But starting now in 2026 and staying consistent over the next decade and beyond can absolutely build you a multi-million-dollar rental portfolio.